Okay, good day. So for today, we're going to discuss another topic with reference to structural theory. So ano ba yung di-discuss natin for today? Ang di-discuss natin is beam deflection double integration method, the most common method in determining the value of the deflection of the beam. So ngayon, class, before we start, we must first need to realize what are the different factors that we need to consider in designing a structure. So number one, we need to consider safety, no? So yan yung unang-unang iniisip ng isang engineer kapag nagde-design siya ng structure. Ano bang nakapaloob dyan sa safety? Nakapaloob po dyan yung ating DCR or yung demand capacity ratio. So from the code, meron tayong certain demand like our weight ng structure, earthquake loads, wind loads, no? And then nilalagyan natin yun ng factors or hindi. It depends on your methodology. Meron tayong ultimate and allowable. And then those demands will be compare, no, to the capacity of the member. So saan manggagaling yung capacity? So magagaling yun sa sectional properties tsaka yung material properties na gagamitin natin. Okay? So doon nakapaloob yan. So dapat yung demand is less than the capacity of the member, no? So doon papasok yung safety. Pinag-aaralan po natin yan sa design. And next one, we need to consider the economy. So hindi na naman tayo puro design ng safe. So syempre, kailangan natin i-consider yung cost ng design natin. So syempre, dapat sakto lang yung design natin, hindi sobra, hindi rin naman kulang. Ngayon, kapag hindi mo consider yung cost, pwede mo naman i-design yung structure na napakamahal. Pero syempre, walang kukuya sa yung engineer kung ang design mo lagi ay puro mahal. Okay? So after that, we need also to consider the aesthetics, no? So hindi lang tayo basta lagay-lagay ng mga beams tsaka columns, no? So kasi mas maganda nga naman, mas maraming beams, mas maraming columns kasi mas maraming magki-carry ng forces. But syempre, ang pangit nga naman tignan if yung bahay mo mas maraming columns, tas marami din beams. So we need to consider the aesthetic parts for architectural purposes, no? And then lastly, we need to consider the serviceability. So dito na papasok yung ating deflection. Or pwede rin pumasok dito yung displacement when it comes to earthquake engineering, no? Yung mga drift na pinag-uusapan natin doon. So diyan napapasok yung displacement. So dapat serviceable yung gagawin nating structure. So dapat magagamit natin siya within its purpose. So dapat hindi ma-feel nung tao na in danger siya pag pumasok siya doon sa building. So doon papasok yung serviceability. Okay? So in beam deflection, we have various sources. So, saan ba nagbumula yung mga deflection? Number one is loading. So of course, any material subjected to any kind of loading will be subjected to deformation. So yung deformation is one word to describe deflection lang in terms of structural theory. Pero parehas lang sila ng ibig sabihin. No? Alam naman natin yan sa structural, sa mechanics of deformable bodies. For example, meron akong bar, tapos pinipipi ko. Of course, that bar will be subjected to shortening. Ililiit po yan. No? So yun yung number one, source of deflection. Number two is temperature changes. Alam din natin sa deformable na kapag umiinit yung ating temperature, nag-expand yung karamihan ng material. Then kapag lumalamig, nagko-contract or lumiliit pag lumalamig, lumalaki naman kapag mainit. And then number 3 is fabrication error. So for example, meron tayong kino-construct na isang beam. Tapos meron tayong piniprepare na sa kanya ng mga forma. Kaso nag-fail yung shoring natin o yung shoring class yung sumusuporta sa mga forma. Ang nangyari, nagkaroon ng deflection nung nagbuhos ka ng konkreto. Initial deflection without applying the loads. So, ibig sabihin, if naka-deflected na yung ating forma tapos natuyo yung konkreto, of course, magkakaroon yung deflection. Ang tawag doon, fabrication errors, no? And then number 4, we have settlement. So, ano naman yung settlement? Yung settlement is with reference to the pagbaba ng isang column compared to the other column. So, for example, we have 2 columns here. So, pag bumaba ito, compared to this one, kasi yung soil natin, class, no, kapag meron niyang, kunyari ito yung soil, kapag meron niyang load, nagkakaroon niya ng displacement or nagkakaroon niya ng deformation over time. So, unti-unti, lumulubog yung lupa natin. Ngayon, kapag nagkaroon ng paglubog, itong column na to, na mas mabilis compared to this one, of course, if we have connected beam dyan, tapos lumubog ito na mas mabilis, so magkakaroon ka ng deflection doon. Okay? And then sabi rito, class, For good design, however, deflection must be limited in order to provide integrity and stability of the structure and prevent cracking of attached brittle materials such as concrete, plaster, or glass. Oo nga naman, no? So for example, this is your beam. Tapos ito yung column mo, no? Sabihin na natin meron kang glass dito. So ano kaya mangyayari doon sa glass mo pag nagkaroon ng excessive deflection, itong beam na to, no? So of course, yung glass may be subjected to cracking. So hindi lang glass, no? Kapag meron tayong masonry wall na tinatawag or yung CHP wall na tinatawag natin, nilalagyan po yun ng plaster. So yung plaster maaaring mag-crack kapag nag-provide ng excessive deflection yung ating beam. Although in design it is safe, but in deflection it is not. So it can provide cracking as well. Although yung CHB is not part of a structural element. Kailangan din natin i-consider yon. Okay? So furthermore, a structure must not vibrate or deflect severely. Besides being able to calculate these deflections for these purposes, we must also be able to calculate deflection at specified points in a structure in order to analyze statically indeterminate structure. Sabi natin class, kapag dun sa approximate analysis natin, if we want to get the value of the exact analysis of the moment, shear, and axial of a framing system, we must first need to calculate the deflection at specified points, no? Kailangan natin yan. So, dito napapasok yon, no? So, kapag na-calculate mo na yung deflection, it does have an effect, ha? Kunyari, may deflection yung beam. It does have an effect on the value of the moment, the shear, and then the axial of a framing system. So, kaya importante talaga na i-calculate natin yung deflection, okay? So, what are the different principles that we need to discuss in beam deflection? So, in beam deflection class, we need to discuss the deflection diagram. So, mahalaga po ito. Ano ba yung deflection diagram? Before the slope or displacement of any point on a beam or frame is determined, it is often helpful to sketch the deflected shape of the structure when it is loaded. This deflection diagram represents the elastic curve or the center line deflection of the member. So, ano daw ibig sabihin yan, class? So, for example, we have a beam. So, ito yung beam natin, simply supported na lang. Tapos yung beam natin, of course, meron center line yan, or yung gitna, or yung neutral axis na tinatawag natin. If this beam is subjected to loading, sabihin natin kahit anong loading yan, so of course, the beam will be subjected to deformation, or in our case, deflection. So ngayon, ang ginagawa daw, kaya tayo nagdo-drawing diagram, is to represent the elastic curve. So remember class, that is a curve. So meron pong equation yung curve na yan. Okay, ulitin ko. Yung deflected shape ng beam, yung itsura nun, or yung appearance nun, or yung line nun, kasi line yan, di ba? Or line, what should I say, curve. Curve yan di ba? Naka-curve yan. Itong curve na to, meron yung equation. Ang tawag doon, elastic curve. Naintindihan po ba? Ang elastic curve po is the center line deflection of a structural member. Okay? So, ayan, nakasulat naman. Center line deflection of members. O, let's fully define elastic curve. Ano nga ba yung elastic curve? The elastic curve is the curve that passes through the centroid of each cross-section of the beam, and in most cases, it can be sketched without much difficulty. Madali nga lang naman. Ano kailangan tandaan natin? Kailangan lang natin tandaan na kapag meron kang pin, support, wala kang deflection. Ibig sabihin yung y mo is equals to 0, or yung deformation mo is equals to 0 sa support, no? So ano pang kailangan natin tandaan? Kapag fixed support din, wala din tayong deflection class, wala din tayong delta or displacement or deformation. Okay? Ulitin ko, kapag pin, walang deflection. Kapag fixed, walang deflection. Pero there's a difference between the two. Anong difference yon? So sabi dito class, kapag daw fixed, wala rin daw slope. Ano ba yung slope na pinag-uusapan natin, class? Yung slope is the angle produces from the horizontal line to the tangent line drawn from the elastic curve. So, anong ibig sabihin nun, class? So, kunyari, maglalagay ako ng tangent line dito sa support na to, since this is fixed, no? So, kapag naglagay ako ng tangent line, class, ayan. So, yung horizontal line natin, ka-line din ng, nung tangent line. So, yung una kong dinrawing, class, ito, is the tangent line. Yung pangalawa kong dinrawing is the horizontal line drawn from the tangent line, no? So, anong ibig sabihin yan? Kapag magkasinlinya sila, wala po siyang slope or rotation na tinatawag, or yung tinatawag dito natin, class, na theta. Okay? So ngayon, anong kinaibahan niyan sa pin support? Sa pin support kasi class meron. Paano ko nasabing meron? Kasi kapag naglagay ka ng tangent line dito, ganyan yung itsura. Pag naglagay ka ng horizontal line, ganyan naman yung itsura. So as you can see, it produces an angle like this. So meron talagang deflection dito kapag pin support. So ganun din po kapag roller ha. Kapag roller, meron din pong slope pero wala po siyang deflection. Ulitin ko, kapag pin tsaka roller, walang deflection pero merong slope. Kapag fixed naman, walang deflection, walang slope. Okay? So sana ma-understand natin yan. So paano natin i-drawing yung elastic curve? So kung meron kang loading, of course, i-project mo lang yung deflected shape ng beam. So alam natin kapag pin tsaka fixed, walang deflection. Kapag fixed, wala ding slope. So magkakaroon ka ng elastic curve. Ito po yung blue line. Ang tawag po dyan is the elastic curve. Madali lang siya i-drawing in theory. By the way, class, this is exaggerated. Kasi nga, hindi mo naman nakikita yung deflection in real life. No? So, makukompute lang natin yan, pero hindi natin, masusukat natin, pero mahirap siya makita. So, kung maliit lang ang deflection, of course, mas maliit ang slope. No? Mas maliit yung rotation. Okay? Again, that is, yung blue line na nakikita nyo dyan, that is the elastic curve. Okay? So, ngayon, paano kung mahirap i-draw yung elastic curve? By the way, kukuha lang ako ng figure. Wait lang ha. Hindi kasi nasama. Paano kung mahirap i-drawing yung elastic curve? Anong gagawin natin, class? O, pag mahirap i-drawing elastic curve, ganito. If the elastic curve for a beam seems difficult to establish, it is suggested that the moment diagram for the beam must be drawn first. Using the beam sign convention established, a positive internal moment tends to bend the beam concave upward. Likewise, a negative moment tends to bend the beam concave downward. Therefore, if the moment diagram is known, it will be easy to construct the elastic curve. Anong ibig sabihin yan, class? Paano daw kapag meron na tayong multiple loading? Just like this one. Baka medyo mahirapan tayo sa pag-drawing ng elastic curve. Kasi dito, madali lang kasi single loading lang. What if we have multiple loading? Paano natin i-drawing daw yung elastic curve? Mas maganda daw kapag nagdo-drawing ka ng elastic curve is you need to draw the moment diagram. Anong ibig sabihin? Bakit ka kailangan mag-drawing ng moment diagram? Kasi pag na-drawing mo yung moment diagram, nagiging basis mo siya for the deflected shape of the beam. Anong ibig ko sabihin? Kapag positive moment, class, binibend yung beam mo concave upward or pa-happy face. Kapag negative moment naman, yung moment diagram mo, binibend yung beam mo concave downward or facade face. So paano yun? So for example, we have this beam subjected to P1 and P2 loading. So sa baba, makikita yun yung moment diagram. So from point A, so ayan na, from point A to point C, as you can see, the moment diagram is negative. Now from point C to point D, the moment diagram is positive. So makikita nyo rin sa elastic curve yung kulay blue na line, no? So from point A to point C, that is projected concave downward kasi nga negative moment. Ngayon from point C to point D, that is projected concave upward kasi nga positive moment. So ganun lang po. No, kung nahihirapan tayo mag-drawing ng elastic curve, i-drawing natin yung moment diagram para mas mapadali tayo. Okay? So ngayon, let's derive the moment curvature relationship. So paano natin i-derive to, class? So wait lang, magpapalit lang ako. Baka nabura kasi yung mga nakasulat dito para mas madali tayong mag-derive, no? So, palitan ko lang yung module, ha? Okay, so we're back, no? So, eto na tayo. Meron na tayong derivation dito. Paano ba natin i-derive to, class? Ngayon, mag-start tayo with referential strip. So, for example, we have a beam subjected to any kind of loading, kahit ano, no? Kuha tayo ng isang maliit na element. Yung width niyan, class, tawagin nating dx. Yung dx class is located at exactly na neutral axis of the beam. So, kunyari, ito yung neutral axis, no? Tawagin natin yung distance from here to here. This is dx. Okay? So, ito yan ha. Ito yung differential strip na to ha. Nilakihan ko lang. Ngayon, anong mangyayari, class? So, sukat kang y distance from the top. So, simula dito hanggang dito, sukatin natin y distance. Tapos, tawagin natin yung nasa taas, ds prime. Ito rin yan. Okay? So, ano bang mangyayari if the beam is subjected to loading? So, mangyayari, class, magiging parang part siya ng sector ng circle. Parang ganito. Para siyang pitchapay, no? So, ano mangyayari dyan, class? Yung sa neutral axis natin, ito pa din, no? Ito, magiging dx. Yung sa taas, yung y distance from the dx sa taas, no, magiging hindi to ds prime ha. This is ds. Ito class, magiging ds prime. So what's the difference between ds and ds prime? Bakit ganon? Kasi yung dx natin hindi nagbago, no, nung nag-bend yung beam. Kapag, again, ito ay hindi pa subjected ng loading, ito subjected ng loading. Ba't ganon? Ba't nagbago? Yung dx, same lang, yung ds prime, yung ds, naging ds prime. It all revolves to the stress diagram of bending stress. O ano ba yung bending stress diagram? So, kunyari, meron tayong ganito class, no? Ito yung representation ng bending stress ng beam. So, ano bang mangyayari dyan? Kunyari, kino-consider natin yung beam na yan, ganito mangyayari na bending stress dyan. Bending stress diagram. Okay? So, paano mangyayari dyan? Sa top part, makaka-experience ng compression, so papunta sa left. Sa bottom part, makaka-experience ng tension, so papunta sa right. So, ito class yung neutral axis natin. Ngayon, ito class, ang height niyan para makuha mo, that is FB my over I. So, kadalasan yung my class pinapalitan ng C. C represents the distance from the neutral axis to the extreme tension or compression fiber. But yung mas generic na formula is my over I. So, ganun din sa kabila, no? Para makuha mo tong height nito, this is my over I pa rin. Pinagkaiba lang nila, this is in compression kasi nga, magko-compress yung beam mo sa taas, just like what happened in this one. Sa baba naman, may stretch, so that is subjected to tension. Ngayon, class, kapag nagsukat ka ng y distance immediately after the neutral axis distance, no? Sa taas ng neutral axis, y, ito yung makukuha mo na stress. So, as you can see, sa neutral axis, we don't have any bending stress. And the beam is subjected to bending stress, no? Dahil wala tayong bending stress, of course, wala din tayong deformation. Pero immediately after the neutral axis, it can be either top or bottom, in our case, in top, no? Magkakaroon tayo ng stress. Kapag meron tayong stress, of course, we do have what do you call this? We do have deformation. So kapag deformation, itong ds na to, hindi natin pwedeng tawagin ds din to. Kasi nga, nagkaroon na tayo ng deformation. So tawagin natin ds prime yan. So ngayon, anong gagawin natin dito sa dalawang to? How can we derive the formula for the elastic curve? So madali lang class, no? Gagamit lang tayo ng concept ng strain. Ano ba yung concept ng strain? Sabi ng strain, para makuha mo daw siya, that is change in length over original length. So in our case, the change in length is ds prime minus ds over ds. ds. Okay? So yung change in length natin, ds prime minus ds, and then yung original length natin, ds. Okay? So ngayon, paano natin to i-derive further? We need to calculate what's the value for ds prime tsaka ds. Paano ba natin makukuha yon? Since this is a sector of a circle, we can use the concept of a circle. No? Paano ba yon? So ngayon, dahil dx to class subjected, para siyang, di ba, part ng circle, ito subjected to sa angle. So tawagin natin d theta yung angle. Itong angle na to class is in radians, no? Ngayon, para makuha natin tong value ng dx, since this is a part of the circle, and dx is an arc length of a circle, kailangan natin ng, Kailangan natin ng radius, o ito yung radius natin. Radius of curvature, no? Tawag dyan rho, no? So, paano natin makukuha si dx? So, si dx class, to calculate for that is equivalent to, pag-aalamin nyo, no, sa inyong, geometry, para makuha mo yung arc length, that is radius multiplied by the angle. Provided that your angle is in radians. Kaya mo lang gawin ito kapag yung angle mo is in radians. Okay? Ngayon, class, kapag tinignan mo, yung ds tsaka dx initially is equal. So, ibig sabihin, ito rin yung value mo ng ds. Okay? So, meron na tayong ds dito. Paano naman natin kukuhanin si ds prime? Now, to get ds prime, as you can see, ganun lang din. Ito, arc length lang din ng circle yan. So, paano yon? E di gawin mo rho minus y. Ito yung rho mo. Ito yung y. O ito yung naging radius ng ds prime, no? Multiplied by d theta. So, meron na tayong ds prime tsaka ds. O, we can now substitute that here. So, ito naging formula natin. Again, ds is equivalent to dx, which is equal to rho d theta. ds prime is rho minus y multiplied by d theta. Ngayon, ano mangyayari sa derivation natin? Pwede na natin i-plug in yan dito. Yung ds prime mo, rho minus y d theta. Yung ds is rho d theta. Ang mangyayari, class, pwede natin i-cancel si d theta. Tsaka si rho, tsaka si negative rho. So, ano nangyari sa calculation natin? Ang nangyari, class, is 1 over rho is equivalent to negative strain over y. Bakit nangyaring ganon? So, ganito yan, class, no? So, ang mangyayari, ang matitira dito, class, kasi, is negative y over rho. I want to isolate 1 over rho. So, ang gagawin ko, yung negative y, lilipat ko sa kabila. So, magiging denominator, no? Yung y, tsaka negative. So, ang mangyayari, class, is 1 over rho is equivalent to negative strain over y. So, yun yung nakita nyo dito. Okay? So ngayon, alam naman natin na based on stress-strain curve, no, meron tayong tinatawag na slope of the stress-strain curve. Ano yon? Yung slope, class, is E, or the modulus of elasticity. That is equivalent to stress over strain. Ngayon, pwede nating kuhanin si strain dito, tapos i-substitute natin dun sa formula natin. Paano yan? So, edi cross multiply, no? So, is equivalent to stress over E. Okay? So ngayon, ano bang stress ang pinag-uusapan natin dito? Yung stress na pinag-uusapan natin dito, class, is FB, which is MC o MY over I. Just like what I derived here in our formula. No? So pwede natin yan substitute dito. So ano mangyayari sa ating strain? So para magiging ganito yung formula ng strain natin, class, sulat ko na lang dito, ha. Ditan ko na lang. Strain is equivalent to, dito ko nalagay, My over EI. Okay? Yung I, transfer ko na lang sa denominator. So, by the way, since compressive bending stress ang pinag-uusapan, this has a negative value. Okay? So, itong value na to, pwede mong i-substitute dito. So, pag sinubstitute mo yan, ang mangyayari, class, si y, dahil may y ka dito, no? Ayan, no? Si y, tas may y ka din dito, pag sinubstitute mo yung e, or yung strain, mangyayari, magka-cancel si y, magka-cancel din si negative, so the resulting equation now is 1 over rho is equivalent to m over ei. Okay? So, ano yung 1 over rho, class? Yung 1 over rho ay tinatawag na radius of curvature, no? Ayan, no? Sorry. Yung rho is tinatawag na radius of curvature, yung 1 over rho is tinatawag na curvature. Lumalabas po yan sa board exam. Okay? Ulitin ko, ha. Yung rho is the curvature, radius of curvature. And then yung 1 over rho is the curvature. Okay? And then yung m is the internal moment in the beam at the point. E is the modulus of elasticity. I is the beam's moment of inertia about the normal axis. Okay? So ito na. Stick na tayo sa formula na to. Again, yung 1 over rho is the curvature. Rho is the radius. Okay? So ngayon, anong gagawin natin dito? We need to relate this. Since this topic is double integration method, we need to relate this into double integration. Paano yon? So meron kasing curvature formula din sa sa differential calculus. Ano yon? So ito yung formula ng curvature sa differential calculus, class. So ano to? So yung nasa taas, class, pwede mo rin yan tawagin na y double prime. Itong nasa taas, ha? Pwede nating tawagin y double prime. Ito, class, na nasa baba, pwede mong tawagin na y prime or yung slope. Again, yung y prime is the slope that is equivalent to tangent theta. Okay? So ngayon, in order to derive this further, yung tangent theta, class, pwede pa nating pwede pa nating i-simplify. Kasi for very small angle, remember yung slope natin, sinabi ko kanina, napakaliit, no? Kasi nga exaggerated yung mga drawing natin. For very small angle, tangent theta is approximately equal to theta. Okay? Ibig sabihin, ito daw yung slope. Ngayon, class, kung meron kang very small angle, meron kang very small na value, in-square mo pa, this will be approximately equal to 0. Itong part na to. Kasi maliit na ngayon theta eh. In-square mo pa. So, magiging 0 na to, itong part na to. So, ilan natira sa equation natin? So, yung natira sa equation natin, class, is, 1 over rho is equivalent to, meron kang natirang 1 raised to 3 over 2. Ano ba yung 1 raised to 3 over 2? That is just equivalent to 1. So, hindi ko nasusulat. Y double prime na lang. Okay? So, meron kang 1 over rho dito, meron ka ding 1 over rho based on the beam. So, pwede nating pag-equalin. So, anong resulting equation ang mangyayari sa atin? So, ito, magiging EIY double prime. So, from here, pwede nating i-simplify dito. So, bali magiging Y double prime is equivalent to ME over EI. So, pwede nating ilipat to if the beam is prismatic and same material. Pwede nating ilipat sa kabila, gawing constant. So, magiging EI Y double prime is equivalent to M. So, this is now the formula for the elastic curve of the beam. Remember, elastic curve is a curve. So, ibig sabihin, it does have an equation. So, ito, dito natin makukuha yung equation ng elastic curve. Okay? Sa EIY double prime. Okay, discuss natin kung ano-ano yung mga variable dyan. Okay? So, sabi dito, class, in integrating EIY double prime is equals to M, the resulting solution must contain two constant of integration. Since EIY double prime is equals to M is of second order. These two constant must be evaluated from known boundary condition concerning the slope and deflection at certain points of the beam. So, anong ibig niya sabihin? Bakit kailangan natin integrate ng dalawang beses? So, ganito kasi class, no? Yung Y double prime, tanggalin ko muna yung EI kasi constant naman, no? Yung Y double prime, remember, this is the slope. Ay, slope tuloy. Y double prime, this is the elastic curve equation. Ngayon, class, kapag in-integral mo yan, magiging y prime yan. Ano ba yung y prime? Again, based on my statement kanina, this is the slope of the elastic curve. Ngayon, another integration, this is now where you produce the deflection equation. Okay? So, ibig sabihin pala, yung y double prime, para makuha mo yung deflection, integrate mo na dalawang beses. And of course, kapag nag-i-integrate ka ng indefinite, ibig sabihin, wala pong limit, kailangan mo mag-add ng two constant. Kaya nakasulat dito, magkakaroon ka ng two constant. And those two constant can be solved using boundary condition. Ano ba yung boundary condition? Boundary condition is the known value of the slope and deflection. Wala pa nga tayong alam. Bakit nakalagay dito known value? Alam natin, meron tayong alam ha. Ano yung alam natin? Kapag pin support, baliktad. Ano yung alam natin na value ng slope at deflection? Kapag pin support or roller support, alam natin wala tayong deflection dyan. Okay? O delta, tsaka y, parehas lang yan. Ngayon, ano pa yung alam natin boundary condition? Kapag fixed end, wala tayong deflection, wala din tayong slope. Okay? So, yun yung known boundary condition. Mamaya, di-discuss natin fully. But for this one, ito muna. Now, again, just like I did earlier, yung y prime uses the slope of the elastic curve, and the second integration, y, gives the deflection of the beam at any distance x. Y is the deflection of the beam at any distance x, E is the modulus of elasticity, I represents the moment of inertia about the total axis, and M represents the bending moment at a distance x from the end of the beam. The product EI is also called as flexural rigidity. Kadalasan kasi class, yung E tsaka I hindi separate na binibigay. So, pag sinabing flexural rigidity, ibig sabihin, pinag-multiply na yung E tsaka I doon. Okay? Hopefully, you do understand. So, now, let's discuss the boundary condition. The constant of integration are determined by evaluating the function for slope or displacement at a particular point on the beam where the value of the function is known. These values are called boundary condition. If the beam is supported by a roller, then it is required that the displacement must be E0 at this point. So, just like I said, kapag roller, tsaka rocker, kapag pin, ang deflection mo ay 0. Ngayon, at fixed end, the slope and displacement are both 0. So, nakikita nyo dito, yung deflection tsaka yung slope ay 0. So, yan yung gagamitin natin na boundary condition in order to get the value of the two constant, no, of integration. Okay? So, now, let's discuss the sign convention. Madali lang naman yung sign convention, class. So, for example, we have a beam, simply supported na lang para madali. So, subjected to any kind of loading. Pero drawing muna natin yung support. So, kunyari, subjected yan sa kahit anong loading. W. So, ano mangyayari sa beam natin? Of course, the beam will deflect, no? Ganito yung itsura ng beam deflection. Tapos, paano natin makukuha yung sign convention? So, pag nag-double integration tayo, class, ganito yung sign convention. Lagay ka ng tangent line dyan. So let's say we want to get the value of the slope here, and we're going to determine if it is positive or negative. Dapat i-consider mo for the sign convention is always the rotation from the horizontal line to the tangent line drawn from the curve. So anong ibig sabihin nun, class? Kunyari ito yung horizontal line, ito yung tangent line. Yung rotation niyan, class, as you can see, is clockwise. Kapag clockwise, class, tingnan natin dito. Kapag clockwise, inaasahan mo na slope value dyan ay negative. Okay? So sa kabila, kapag maglagay ka ng tangent line din dito, tapos ito yung horizontal line, so as you can see, the rotation from the horizontal line to the tangent line, no, is counterclockwise. So yung inaasahan na slope mo dyan should be equivalent to positive. Ayan, no? Okay? So paano naman kapag deflection? So kapag pababang deflection, class, just like this one, inaasahan mo na value sa calculation mo, no, should be negative. Ngayon, kapag pataas naman yung deflection, let's say meron kang beam, tapos nag-deflect ng ganyan, kapag pataas naman, ang asahan mong value dyan should be positive. Okay? Hopefully, na-realize yung sign convention for double integration method. Okay? So now, let's discuss the procedure for analysis. O, madali lang to, class. First is you need to establish x and y coordinates. So, paano yun? So, ito yung x ko, ito yung y ko. And then, cut in the last segment of the beam. So, anong ibig sabihin ng last segment? So, dapat po, lahat ng loading mo masakop. Lahat ng loading mo may equation. So, by the way, elaborate ko lang yung x and y coordinate. Yung y is the basis for your x distance, no? So, usually, nagyayari yan sa n. And then, yung x will always happen at the center line of the beam. Kasi diyan ka magre-reference ng deflected shape, no? Ulitin ko, kailangan mong i-cut yung second one, kailangan mong i-cut sa last segment ng beam. Ibig sabihin, lahat ng loading dapat merong equation, no? So, number 3, determine the slope and deflection equation. So, paano mo ma-determine yun? Kailangan mong kuhanin yung m as a function of x, no? So, after you determine the value of m, you will get, or you will do double integration, just like this one. Unang integration yields the value for the slope, and then the second integration yields the value for the deflection. Of course, you will arrive with two constant. Yung two constant na to can be solved using boundary condition. Again, pin, roller, zero deflection, fix, zero slope, zero deflection. Okay? So now, meron din tayong tinatawag na deflection limitation for NSAP. Ang kadalasan na ginagamit dito, class, is L over 360 tsaka L over 240. But what's the difference between the two? Ginagamit po yung L over 360 kapag may masisirang kahit anong bagay sa baba na magdi-deflect na member. Okay? Ginagamit naman yung L over 240 kapag wala naman nasisira, no? Kapag nag-provide ng large deflection yung ating structural member. Ulitin ko, yung L over 360 kapag may masisira sa baba, L over 240 kapag wala namang masisira. Okay? So after that, para meron tayong sample problem, let's change PowerPoint presentation or PDF. Okay? Okay, so let's try to solve problem number 1. So sabi dito, calculate the following for the given beam. Assume EI is constant. So kapag constant yung EI, pwede natin siyang ilipat sa kabila, no? Okay? Just like what we did, first thing we need to do is we need to establish x and y coordinates, no? So ano ba yung x and y coordinates natin? Yung y ko is dito na lang sa may point A. Yung x ko ay magmumula sa center line ng beam. Hindi ko na siya isusulat para medyo madali. Okay? So, ang gagawin natin, i-redraw natin yung beam para medyo maayos. We have a pin and then a roller. And then after that, we need to project the loading. 60 kilonewton. This one is 4 meters. This one is 6 meters. So again, this is point A. This is point C. Point B. So ngayon, paano gagawin natin? We need to cut this, no, in the last segment. In our case, that is the last segment. Tapos, ang distance from here to here, no, sukat lang natin. ang distance from here to here, tawagin natin x. Okay? So ngayon, dahil nag-cut tayo and we need to create moment equation, kailangan natin, kailangan natin ng reaction dito, or RA. How do we get RA? O pwede tayo mag-summation moment sa B. So paano yan? Summation, moment sa B, equals 0, clockwise, positive. So what will happen? So we have RA times the distance, that's 10, minus 6 times 6 equals 0. So yung RA natin, class, is 60 pala ito, ha? Sorry. 60 times 6. So RA is 60 times 6, divide 10. So this is 36 kilonewton. So meron tayong RA, this is 36 kilonewton. So para mas maayos yung analysis natin, I can isolate this one, yung cutting plane. So ito yung cutting plane natin, no? Okay, so we do have reaction here, 36 kilonewton, and then we also have 60 kilonewton. So the distance here to here is x. And then, ang distance dito, simula dito hanggang dito, this is 4 meters. So kung 4 meters yan, ang natira is x minus 4. Okay? So kapag nag-cut tayo, just like on our previous discussion, kapag nag-cut tayo, kinonsider natin yung left side, yung direction ng moment is counterclockwise. Okay? So we need to create moment equation. So paano tayo makapag-create ng moment equation? So dito na lang. Opposite direction, positive. Same direction, negative. So paano yan? So m is equivalent to, paano? Opposite si 36. So 36, x, positive, no? And then minus, same direction si 60. 60 bracket x minus 4. So what's the meaning of bracket, class? Ang meaning ng bracket, actually galing yan sa Macaulay function. Ano ibig sabihin ng Macaulay? So ito, sulat ko yung pangalan. Macaulay function. So ano ibig sabihin ng Macaulay function, class? Ang ibig sabihin, kapag nag-negative po yung value ng nasa bracket, you will deem this expression as 0. Kapag nag-negative yung nasa bracket. Pero pag hindi naman, hindi siya 0. So bakit ganon? Anong reason doon? So pwede tayo mag-side note, no? To explain that phenomenon. So for example, we have a cantilever beam na lang. Tapos 2 meters yung distance dito. This is 2 meters, 2 meters. Let's say we have a loading of 100 kilonewton. So ngayon, ang gagawin natin, we need to create a moment equation. So paano yun? So kailangan lahat ng loading masakop. So cut ko to. Ang distance neto, class, is x. Ngayon, ang rotation natin is clockwise. So to get the value for the moment equation, kailangan natin makuha tong distance na to. Eh, ano ba yan? Madali lang yan, di ba? That's x minus 2. So the moment equation here is, 100 negative kasi same direction, x minus 2. So paano yan? So try natin, no? When x is equals to 3, anong value ng moment? But if you can see here, if x is equals to 3, yung analysis natin is somewhere nasa gitna. So kung x is equals to 3, malamang ito ay 1 meter. So dapat ang value natin is dapat nasa 100, no? Kasi 1, yung distance mo, times 100. So if x is equals to 3, our analysis should, based on the figure, figure alone, wala pa, no? Dapat ang value is 100. So let's try. So ano mangyayari? So m is equivalent to negative 100 times 3 minus 2. O tama nga, m is negative 100 kilonewton meter. So this is correct. Okay? So what if naman, or x is equivalent to 1? Tama ba? O pag x is equals to 1, kasi dito nagmula yung x mo, so nandito yung analysis sa gitna ng 2. So ngayon, kapag nag-cut ka dyan, kinonsider mo yung left side, dapat yung moment mo ay 0 kasi wala ka namang loading kapag kinonsider mo left side. Ganito lang yan, no? So ngayon, tingnan natin kung 0 ba lalabas. So gawin din natin yung equation na to. So m is equivalent to negative 100, 1 minus 2. So, ang lumabas is positive 100 kilonewton meter. And this is incorrect. Kasi nga, kapag kinat natin dito, walang loading, 100 dapat kapag consider natin yung right side. Pero, ang lumabas sa equation, 100. That's why we have Macaulay function. Kapag nag-negative, kasi nag-negative yung sagot dito sa parenthesis, no? Kapag nag-negative yung sagot sa bracket, we will deem this equation as 0. Hopefully, you do understand, no? Okay? So ngayon, meron na tayong moment equation. We can now plug in that in our elastic curve equation. So paano ba yon? Ang sabi sa derivation natin kanina, EI y double prime is equivalent to M. O meron tayong M dito, meron tayong M dito. Pwede natin pag-equal din. So EI y double prime is equivalent to 36x minus 60x minus 4. Okay? So, ang gagawin natin dyan is we need to integrate it to determine the value of slope and deflection. Kasi pinapahanap tayo ng theta A, theta B, theta C, deflection sa C, maximum deflection. Okay? So, ngayon, integrate natin. So, ano mangyayari? So, we have EIY double prime is equivalent to 36x. Isin ko lang. X squared over 2 minus 60 bracket x minus 4 squared over 2 plus C1. So, paano naging ganyan? Bakit ganyan yung integration? Talaga bang ganyan? O pwede nating balikan? No? So, paano ba ginagawa natin kapag naging integral? So, let's say we integrate x squared dx. So, we have a formula for that, right? So, paano yon? So, we have x n plus 1 over n plus 1 plus c. So, ngayon, kapag nag-i-integral tayo ng x squared, ang lalabas na value dito is x cubed over 3 plus c. Okay? So, that is if we have a single x. O, paano naman kapag nag-i-integral tayo ng x plus 3 squared dx? So, ganun lang din, no? So, bali mangyayari, x plus 3 n plus 1 over n plus 1 plus c. So, ang mangyayari kapag in-integral mo yan, x plus 3 cube over 3 plus c. So, kaya ganun yung nangyari dito. Okay? Hopefully, naiintindihan na, no? O, anong sunod? Another integration. By the way, this is not y double prime. This is y prime na lang kasi nag-integral na tayo. Okay? Another integration is EI y is equivalent to 36 x cubed 2 times 3 6 minus 60 x minus 4 cube over 6 plus yung C1 mo malalagyan na ng x plus C2 kasi nag-integrate ka no? Okay? So we have the general formula. So again, yung mga na-compute natin dyan, this is plus this slope equation, elastic curve equation. This is the slope. This is the deflection. Okay? So ngayon, ang sabi natin, after you got this deflection equation, we need to solve for the value of C1 and C2. Paano mo masosolve yung value ng C1 and C2? Using boundary condition. Ano ba yung boundary condition natin? Kapag pin and roller, 0 yung deflection. Kapag fix, 0 yung deflection, 0 yung slope. So ngayon, paano tayo makapunta sa pin tsaka sa roller? Dahil nag-cut tayo, kinonsider natin yung left side. Para makapunta tayo dito sa pin, dapat yung x value natin is equivalent to 0. So, yun yung gagawin natin for boundary condition. So, ilagay natin dito. When x is equivalent to 0, alam natin na nasa pin yung analysis natin. Kasi 0 yung x mo eh. Alam natin kapag sa pin, ang value ng deflection ay 0. So, ilagay natin dyan. So, ano mangyayari kapag yan yung scenario natin? So, 0 ito. So, ilagay natin 0. Ito kinukuha ko to deflection equation para makuha si C1, C2. So, bali mangyayari 36, 0 cube over 6 minus 60, 0 minus 4 cube over 6 plus C1, 0 plus C2. So, what will happen? This will become 0. Ito class, nag-negative sign yung nasa bracket. So, you will deem this as 0. This is 0. So basically, yung C2 natin is equivalent to 0. Okay? So ngayon, anong next? O, para makakuha pa tayo ng value for C1, we have the next boundary condition. Ano yon? O yung roller mo sa kabila. So paano ka ba makakapunta sa roller? So kung nagsimula yung x mo sa point A, para makapunta ka sa roller, dapat x is equals to 10. No? So yun yung next boundary condition mo. So ilagay natin dito. If x is equals to 10, alam natin kapag roller, 0 din yung deflection. So i-plug in ko ulit dito sa equation na to. Pwede kong kopyahin na lang to. Palitan ko ng 10 yung 0. So paano? So 0, 36, 10 cube over 6 minus 60 bracket 10 minus 4 bracket cube over 6 and then plus C1 times 10. Hindi ko nalalagay yung C2 kasi 0 naman. Okay? Let's calculate that. So, anong value natin for C1? 4 cube 6 plus x times 10. So, ang lumalabas sa aking class is negative 384. So, yan na yung value natin for C1. Okay? So, after that, we can now proceed to the unknowns. Ano ba hinahanap sa letter A? Sa letter A, class hinahanap yung slope sa point A. So, paano tayo makakuha ng slope sa point A? Di gamitin natin yung slope equation. And then, kailangan natin ng x value. Para makapunta ka sa analysis mo sa point A, dapat yung x mo ay equivalent to 0. No? So, paano gagawin yun? So, lagay natin dito, ha? So, point sa letter A, ang hinahanap is theta A. To get the value of theta A, x is equivalent to 0. Tapos gagamitin natin yung second equation. Ito. So, paano yan? So, theta A, theta A, is equivalent to, paano to? 36x squared over 2, 60x minus 4. Paano yan? So, 36, 0 squared over 2 minus 60, 0 minus 4 squared over 2 and then plus C1, kung di ako nagkakamali, plus C1, pero yung value ng C1 natin class is negative 384. So, ilagay natin dito, negative 384. So, this will become 0. Ito, 0 din. So, yung theta A natin class is equivalent to negative 384 over EI. Okay? So, this is now our answer for letter A, number 1. So, ngayon, anong meaning ng negative sign? Ang meaning ng negative sign class that your rotation of the slope from the horizontal line to the tangent line is clockwise. Okay? So, ano pa? Sa letter B, proceed na tayo. So, ano bang hinahanap sa letter B? So, sa letter B class, ang hinahanap is theta B. Paano ka makakapunta ng theta B? Nagsimula yung x mo from A. Para makapunta ka ng theta B, dapat x is equals to 4 plus 6, which is equivalent to 10. Okay? So, theta B, x should be equivalent to 10. So, EI, theta B, is equivalent to, paano to? So, copyin ko na lang yun. Palitan ko na lang ng 10 yung 0. So, 36, 10 squared over 2 minus 60 bracket 10 minus 4 squared over 2 minus 384. Ngayon, kapag kinalculate nyo yan, class, ang lalabas na theta B mo ay, tignan natin, 36, 10 squared over 2 minus 60, 10 minus 4 squared over 2 minus 384. So, ang lumalabas sa aking class is positive 336 over EI. Okay? So, anong ibig sabihin po ng positive 336 over EI? So, ang ibig sabihin po niyan, kapag positive sign, ibig sabihin ang rotation mo from the horizontal line to the tangent line is counterclockwise. So, mamaya i-drawing naman yan. No? So, ngayon, for letter C, anong hinahanap for letter C? For letter C class, ang hinahanap is slope sa point C. O paano ka makakapunta sa point C? Ito yung point C. So, dapat yung x mo is equals to 4. Okay? So, ilagay natin dito. Sa theta C, dapat yung x value mo is equals to 4. So, ang mangyayari, EI, theta C, is equivalent to 36 times 4 squared over 2. Again, kinokopya ko lang to, pinapalitan ko lang yung x. 64 4 squared over 2 minus 384. So, this will become 0. So, ilan kaya yung value ng theta C natin? Okay, calculate ko lang. So, ang nakukuha ko last is negative 96 over EI. So, what does negative sign means? So, it means that your rotation for the slope from the horizontal to the tangent line is clockwise direction. Okay? And then, next, letter D. Ang pinapahanap is deflection sa C. So, paano tayo kukuha ng deflection sa C? Ang analysis mo ulit ay nasa point C. So, malamang yung x value mo should be equivalent to 0. Ay, 0 tuloy. 4. Okay? So, ayun. Ito kasi yung A mo para makapunta ka sa C, 4. Okay? So, yun yung gagamitin natin. X is equals to 4. Okay. So, paano natin kukuhanin yan? Kailangan natin ng third equation. 36x cubed over 6 minus 60x minus 4 cubed 6 minus 384 times x. Okay? Lagay natin dito. So, EI, YC is, again itong equation na itong gagamitin natin. So, this is 36x cubed over 6 minus 60 bracket 4 minus 4 cubed over 6, and then ang sunod is minus 384, yung C1 natin, nagkaroon na ng x, 4. Okay? So now, paano natin isolve to? This will become 0. So ano kaya yung YC natin? So, nakuha ko class is negative 1152 over EI. Okay? So, this is now your answer. What does negative sign mean? It means that your deflection is directed downward. Okay? So, ayun, tama naman tayo. And then lastly, pinapahanap yung maximum deflection. Ngayon, class, kapag maghahanap ka ng maximum deflection, you just need to understand one concept, no? So, lagay natin dito, E. So, pag naghahanap ka po ng maximum deflection, kailangan mo lang tandaan na yung slope mo must be equivalent to 0. Bakit? Ang slope na 0 class is horizontal line. Ibig sabihin, yung tangent line mo, tsaka yung horizontal line is coincide, magkalinya. So, kapag magkalinya yung tangent line mo, tsaka yung horizontal line, ibig sabihin, nandun ka na sa pinakatuktok, hindi ka na bumababa, hindi ka na umangat. Remember, ang value ng slope is rise over run. Kapag wala ka ng rise, wala ka ng run, ibig sabihin plus, nandun ka na sa pinakatuktok, yung nandun ka na sa maximum. So ngayon, kailangan natin ma-determine kung saan ba yung location na merong 0 yung slope. Dito sa figure na to. So malamang hindi yan support kasi alam natin may value ng slope dyan. Na-compute na nga natin eh. O saan kaya dito mag-0 yung slope? So meron tayong dalawang senaryo. Paano tayo nag-create ng scenario? Kapag nag-change ng loading condition. So for example, from point A to point C, nagkaroon ng concentrated loading. That is our first scenario. Ang second scenario natin, from point C to point B, nagkaroon ng reaction. So it's either of the two, kailangan isa lang yung makakapag-provide ng maximum deflection. Pwedeng simula dito hanggang dito, simula dito hanggang dito. Okay? So let's start with our first assumption. So ang first assumption natin is mangyayari yung maximum deflection in between point A to point C. Ibig sabihin, yung x value natin or yung location ng zero slope must be greater than 0 but less than 4. Okay? So ngayon, kapag ganyan yung scenario natin, 0 yung slope, to determine the value of x, pwede mong gamitin yung slope equation. No? Kukopyahin lang natin to. Isi-0 lang natin tong y prime. So ano mangyayari? So 0 is equivalent to, if you'll remember the equation, post nyo na lang, but basically ito yan, 36x squared over 2. Ngayon, ito na yung tricky na part. Ito yun, na-compute ko na, 36x squared over 2. Ngayon, class, ang analysis kasi natin, dapat yung x value ay hindi lalagpas ng 4 for first scenario. Kasi from 0 to 4 right? Any number you substitute in this expression from 0 to 4 will make this expression 0. So therefore, in computation for the x value, hindi ko na siya isasali. Okay? Ang isasali ko na lang is si C1. Ulitin ko, kaya hindi natin sinali ito. Kasi kung anong number man yung isubstitute mo from 0 to 4, so 4, our first assumption, you will make this bracket negative and this will become 0. Okay? So ngayon, i-plug in natin, so negative 384. So anong value kaya ng x natin based on the first scenario? 2384. Nagpa-processing lang yung calculator ko. Ang nakukuha ko is 4.6188 meters. Ngayon, tama ba tong x value na nakuha natin? That is incorrect. Bakit po incorrect? Kasi inassume natin na dapat less than 4 yung ating yung ating location, no? Ang lumabas nagpas 4.6188. So definitely that is incorrect. So anong ibig sabihin niyan? Ibig sabihin niyan, class, hindi nagmumula from point A to point C or wala sa location ng from point A to point C yung maximum deflection. Nasan? Yung maximum deflection ay mag-occur from point C to point B. Okay? If that's the case, ibig sabihin, kailangan natin tong isama sa calculation natin for x. Kasi any number greater than 4 but less than 10 will make this expression valid or hindi siya 0. Okay? So, paano gagawin natin doon? So, i-compute ulit natin yung x. Again, second scenario, dapat lagpas na sa 4, pero of course, hindi lalagpas sa 10. Okay? So, ang mangyayari, 0, 36, x squared, over 2, minus 60, bracket x minus 4, squared over 2, minus 384. So ngayon, anong gagawin natin? Shift solve lang natin and then determine natin yung x value. So ang lumabas sa akin, 4.7085 meters. Ngayon, tama ba yan? Of course, tama yan. Because that is in between 4 tsaka 10. Okay, so yan na yung gagamitin natin in computation for the maximum deflection. So again, kukuhanin natin itong equation na to and then isa-substitute natin yung x na nakuha natin. So paano yan? Lagay ko dito. EI Y max is equivalent to 36. Tapos ang nakuha nating x is 4.7085. Cube over 6 and then minus 60. 4.7085 minus 4 cube over 6 minus 384 times 4.7085. Okay? So ngayon, anong value ng y max natin? Six 64.7085 minus 4 cube 6 minus 384 So, ang lumalabas sa aking class is negative 1185.3 na over EI. Okay? So, that is our answer. So, let's see if we're correct. 297. Tama naman, 297. Or in first decimal, one decimal point, negative 1185.3. Okay? So, that's how we answer problem number 1. Okay? Okay, discuss ko lang po kung ano-ano yung mga na-compute natin kanina for our problem number 1. I-drawing lang natin yung elastic curve. By the way, yung pulang linya, yun yung elastic curve natin, no? So, ngayon class, ipa-flatten ko lang to, no? So, ngayon class, let's discuss what are those values that we computed earlier. So, anong gagawin natin? So, pag tinignan nyo dito, yung value natin for theta A is negative 384. So, anong ibig sabihin ng 384? Ibig sabihin, yung rotation niya from the horizontal line to the tangent line is moving in clockwise direction. So, ito yon. Ito yung theta A mo. Ngayon, for theta B, so ang lumalabas is positive 336. So, counterclockwise naman yon. Horizontal to the tangent line. This is theta B. Now, for theta C, ang nakikita natin, negative pa din. So, ito yung theta C. Ito yung point C class. Kapag pinroject mo, this is your point C. Ito yung rotation na sinasabi natin. Ito yung theta C. Clockwise pa din kasi that is negative. Okay? And then, if you take a look at deflection sa C, ito yon. So, negative lumabas, so downward deflection. So, from here to here, this is your IC. And then, lastly, the maximum deflection. How do we determine maximum deflection? Nagpas daw, no? Nagpas daw sa 4 meters. Saan dito? Ayan, no? Yung Ymax natin is lagpas sa 4 meters. So, definitely, ito yon. So, somewhere here. So, this is your Ymax. Okay? So, that's how we calculate. Or dito, hindi ko lang masulat, no? Basta yung pinakababa. Yun yung Ymax, no? Kapag naglagay ka ng tangent line sa Ymax, perfectly horizontal, yun yung maximum deflection. Okay? So, that's how we draw the elastic curve of the beam from problem number 1.